Hey guys, and welcome back. So today's video is a little bit more sinister than usual because there are two things that I really need to address. But before I jump into that, I want to first explain that my fire alarm keeps going off because it's too high up for me to reach because I live in a warehouse. And also I live in a warehouse with 10 people, so if there's some background noise, please forgive me. This is the only time I could really film this video, so apologies. Okay, the two things I want to talk about today are necessary for me to talk about. So the first one I want to address is fake accounts, pretending to be me and scamming people. And the second is people who live in a delusional fairy tale land and they think we are in a relationship. So the first one I'm going to dive into is fake accounts and scamming people because that one's quite real. So, all right. Buckle your seatbelts, kids. Let's go. Okay, so it's quite a thing for people to make fan accounts on the internet, and it's very flattering and it's very cute, and I love those little accounts so very much. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about people actually pretending to be me. It's very cunning what these people have done, and it's very smart because they've played the long game on this one. So what's happened is people have gotten scammed out of money. So I'm very honest about my finances on here, in the sense of, like, I don't get paid by YouTube. I get paid by Patreon. And you know, I'm not living some sort of like luxury life where I have a wealth of money and I can afford to do loads of stuff. That's like not true. I live basically paycheck to paycheck. That's the truth of it. And people have taken advantage of this, like my honesty with that, and have used it against people who are very lovely and very caring. So what these accounts have done is set up a page that looks like basically my Instagram page, maybe a few older personal pics thrown in there that like people might not have seen before. So it looks a bit even more personal than my own Instagram account. And what they do is they go under like the comments of a photo, they find people who interact with my page and they message them. And again, they're playing the long game. This has been going on for months. This isn't the first time. It happened a few years ago, and I thought I'd cleared the air with this, but that's why I'm making this video, because it's happened again. And what they do is they message them for months. They send them photos of me that aren't on my public domain. You know, they're not on my Twitter, my Instagram, or anything. They find old Instagram stories, or like they saved old Instagram stories and old Snap stories and things, so photos that people haven't seen before, and like the account is like messaging these people, wanting to get to know them, wanting to be friends with them, and really like building up a trust with them. So these people obviously think it's me, and I'm sending them these photos of like me in bed, me chilling, like, hey, how's you? So really personal, like we are like best mates. And then a few months down the line, they have messaged them and asked them for money. Okay, so that is not cool. And it's never really been like, oh, hey, like I need 10 grand to like release a song. It's more small things like, oh, like I'm falling short in my rent this month. Is there any chance you could send me £100? Or I really need to get dinner. Could you send me 50 quid? I'm like really short. It's like things like that. And if they've got enough of these people who've bought into it, they're going to actually earn quite a bit of money. And I never thought anybody would have believed it, because this is why the blue tick verification exists. It's not an ego stroke to people. It is literally to show people that this is the real you, that this isn't an impersonation account, this is ran by the person. Like, that's what they're for. And like, I don't have another Instagram account, I'm sorry. So what you see is what you get. The blue tick pages, they're mine. That's me. The only page that doesn't have a blue tick that is mine is my Tumblr, which I don't use anymore, so it's a bit irrelevant. But they've literally managed to convince these people. And yeah, I thought nobody would fall for it, like nobody would give them money, but they have. And that's when I've started receiving messages. And it wasn't from the people who'd really been getting scammed. I still believe that there are people out there getting scammed. because I've only started to find out now from people like sending me DMs or contacting my management or contacting my work email that they're like, hey, I just wanted to say that there's this person who's pretending to be you, and I thought it was real until they started asking for money. So that's how I know this has been going on for a long time. And yeah, people are bought into this fake account. So this video is basically me just saying that I will never, ever, ever ask you for money on like a personal fake account, because I don't have a personal fake account. Like, blue tick me is me. And I just want to say that I hope this video gets to the people who need to see it. Like, I'm obviously not in the position to like reimburse you that money, but I'm really sorry that happened, and I'm really sorry that, you know, the person you've been contacting isn't me, because I feel bad, because I feel like you've built up a friendship with me and it wasn't really me, and I'm very, very sorry for that. Like, there's nothing I can really do, but if you want to reach out and send me a message, I'll be happy to talk to you about all of this that's gone on, but please don't send more money to this account. Thank you. So yeah, all right. Moving swiftly on, topic number 2. So this one has been going on longer than the scamming thing. This is people online who have bought into this fantasy that we're in a relationship. And the first time it happened, I was obviously very scared. I was like, oh my god, this person thinks that we're together. That's not a thing. Like, why are they reading into all my posts? And it wasn't until like fast forward a few years and I'd accumulated like a mass amount of these people. And basically what happens is there's a good episode of Dr. Phil on it that I'll leave a link in the description to, because it's basically that. And people look at that case and think, oh my god, that's mental. Nobody would ever imagine they're in a relationship with someone that they've never met online. It happens. It happens a lot. And it's terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. When you're in this position where people are like convinced that they're in a relationship with you, it's quite scary. And I think the scariest one for me was actually a few years ago. I was out in New York City. I was out there for a promotional trip, so there was no gigs or anything like that, luckily, in this case. But what happened was I announced that I was going to America for promo, because I get very excited about going to the States. But what happened then was they seen I was going, and I can't remember if they flew from like one side of America to get to New York, or if they flew from a different country. Either way, they clocked up some air miles to get to New York City. And I didn't know that this was going on until 3 days into the trip, by the way, what I'm about to explain. So what I do when I'm out on promo trips, because you go to so many different places talking to different journalists and doing different interviews and stuff, I don't post about the place I'm at until I'm at the next place. So if I was in a cafe doing an interview and stuff, I would get my photos, my wee promo photos, and then it's not until I get to like the next cafe or PR building or whatever that I post the photos from the place before. And thank God that's how I work for this scenario. So what had happened was every time I posted a place I was at, they would dash across New York City to get there. And they would send me photos of them there, like asking where I was. And I was blissfully unaware till day 3 that this was going on. And I mean, they went to every single place that I went to, like everywhere. And like took photos of their food, took photos of them, like, where are you, babe? And I'm like, what? So on day 3, I remember sitting in the hotel room with the band and my manager, and I was just going through my DMs. I was in promo mode, so when you're in promo mode, you get a lot of DMs, and it's very sweet because people just DM you just like, hey, I really like the song, or I really like the EP, or whatever you're doing at the time, and it's really, really nice. Like your inbox is quite full at all moments because you're posting a lot, so you're getting a lot of feedback. So I didn't notice these messages coming in, and we were just chilling. We'd had a long day. We were just getting ready to go for dinner or whatever, and I was just going through, and I get to this message from this account, and like it goes on for miles. Like So obviously that's when I learned about them following me to New York City. But like, not only that, I learned like the further I scrolled up, like they had been doing this for like over a year, basically. They had thought we were in a relationship. And what I want to know is like they were married with kids, like, but they were like, oh no, it's fine. Like we can have a monogamous relationship. My wife hates me for it, but she said she'll do it if you're up for it. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? And like the more I was scrolling, then I was coming across these like, ooh, provocative, raunchy messages, like sex almost, from this random person. And I was like, oh my god, what is going on here? And it was just, I was so like totally freaked out that I had to like give my phone to like a member of my team and be like, here, can you read this? Like, this is really important. So yeah, everyone was as scared as I was, because that was really the start of it. Then I think that was like the first one I really discovered, because I'd had people, you know, think we were in a relationship, but it was mild. But this was like the first time where somebody had taken it next level. And since then, like, it happens more than I would like to admit, because it seems very obnoxious to be like, oh, people think I'm in a relationship with them. But like, it's gotten so bad with some people where like, a recent one like was somebody sending me all like the messages, you know, like, you know, we're together, blah blah, and they think that like we're like communicating through telekinesis, or no, telepathy, and like all of my posts are like in some way symbolic to our relationship. They read into everything, and like they might even comment on a post and be like, oh, you guys don't know what this means, but I do. And it's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I want to clarify, I'm not in a relationship. So if anybody who thinks that we're in a relationship is watching this, we're not. And I know you're probably going to take that as another sign of like, because I've done this before, I've messaged people and been like, because I thought it was the kind thing to do, right? When I seen that somebody had been going on these fantasies for months, I messaged them and say, hey, I've never met you. There's nothing going on between us. I'm sorry that I've had to like break this fantasy for you, but like, I don't know you and this isn't real. And I've had to be very, very blunt with it, actually, because I realized that if somebody's like in a place where they think that something like that is real, then I can't leave any question marks when I'm telling them that this is not real. And I've had a few people like accept it on the first time. They're like, oh, okay. And then like, I've never heard from them again. But I've had people who are just like, there's definitely 3 of them still going, that I've messaged them a few times being like, no, like this is not a thing. And they take it as a test. They're like, oh, you're saying it's not real to test our love, to see if I'll stick with you through all this. And I'm like, no, it's not a thing. And it gets quite scary, because like, I think someone even threatened one of my musicians. Yes, I was doing a gig in Denmark with my keyboard player Jim, and when we travel, we have a good time. Like, we'll post photos together and stuff, and we just have a laugh and share it with the internet, basically, especially if I'm vlogging and things. And this account got so angry that Jim was spending time with me that they started threatening him. They started like leaving mean comments on all of his posts. And like, bear in mind, he's a professional musician. That's his job. Like, so going on their account and like making them out to be a terrible person is not good for their business, because this person, you don't even know them, and it makes me feel bad then, and I feel guilty, and that wasn't cool. And like, yeah, death threats to my keyboard player. Like, why? And I'm making this video, and I know that like it's still not gonna help, because some of these people are like beyond my help. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to call Dr. Phil and be like, hey, can we get these people on so that I can tell them face to face that we're not a thing? But obviously I'm not gonna do that. But I don't know what else to do. Like, this is like my last straw of like trying to tell these people that we're not together, not in a relationship with you or anyone else. Okay? Thank you and good night. So, that's it. That's the end of my ramble on the two things that I just can't avoid anymore. I had to talk about the fake accounts, and I had to talk about the people thinking we're in a relationship, because it keeps occurring, keeps coming up. And especially with the money fraud thing, I had to address it because I didn't really realize people were actually giving these people money. So I want to make sure that nobody does that in the future, because that's not okay at all. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having a happy day and that the world is treating you the way you deserve. All right, bye.